to just read a disclaimer here that allows us to videotape. By being involved in this platform, you are authorizing permission for this to be videotaped and uploaded to our website. Additionally, no reproduction or use of this video may be made without prior written consent by the National Child Care Association. And so without further ado from me, I would like to introduce you to the Director of the National Child Care Association, Cindy Lenhoff.
Good afternoon. Thank you to all of you that were able to join us today. I know that there are a number of webinars that happen on a daily basis, and it's hard sometimes to choose between them, but we are glad that you found the topic that we wanted to discuss today, something of importance to you. As I have said more than once in our sessions together, and some of you have participated before, we are very careful about choosing partners for our association business partners, because they want them to have great meaning to you and your staff, and also for the purpose of improving the quality of early care and education, and helping you to make that affordable and doable with yourself and your team. And I had the pleasure of being introduced to Becky and Gillian by one of our members, Missy Webb in Virginia, and also one of our board members who works for Child Care Network. And for some reason, that Jamie Rickenbacker, who also spoke highly of Quorum eLearning. And Quorum eLearning is a program that is offered exclusively by Kaplan to assist educators in getting their credentials. And many states are requiring credentials. Accreditation requires credentials. And much movement towards improving our industry and the things that we do to help educate, care for, and develop children that require credentials. I personally have taken a couple of these courses along with other e-learning courses, because I was a provider, most of you know, for 36 years, to really measure what I think was some of the best coursework. And I have to say that Quorum eLearning won hands down. It is so interactive. It also requires that those individuals taking it, like myself, take what they're learning and write plans on how to incorporate it into their classroom. If you are a director, you can get reports of how your team of teachers is doing, if you so choose, in taking the coursework, how many courses they've taken, and how whether they're passing and earning the hours. It's just incredible, absolutely incredible. And I don't want to talk too much, because I want Becky and Gillian to tell you more about their wonderful educational program. I do, as the National Child Care Association Director, want to mention the fact that we are really on the verge of some amazing opportunities as far as funding, which may actually help you pay for some of your teachers and yourself to earn credentials and raise the quality. I'm sure many of you know that a bill was passed before the end of December that gave $10 billion of emergency funding into the Child Care Block Grant, the Child Care Development Block Grant. The rules are the same around what that money can be used for as the CARES Act. But keep in mind, the CARES Act offered $3 billion. This is $10 billion. And so I want to thank any of you that have been instrumental in answering our need to have you contact your legislators to help that along. And ultimately, you can read a little bit about our, a little bit more about this 10 million and what it pays for and how much your state is going to get by sending us your email address. The best way to do that is to join NCCA, but we're here to help anybody who wants this information. So if you want to put your email address in, which you may have already done because you're a participant, we can send you that newsletter. And it's a little more specific and talks a little bit more about what I just told you. But we're also looking very forward to another 40 million that is actually been put forth in a bill that President Biden, is behind. And we are on the verge of something huge. And again, there's been a lot of advocacy on everyone's part. I want to recognize some of the partners that we work with at NCCA that have been instrumental. And that is, we have Child Care Aware of America that are huge advocates. I am so sorry about that phone. That are huge advocates and have done a lot to help us know what information we can pass on to you as far as contacting your legislators. We also have the National Women's Law Center and their early education team that helps us with that information, and we put it together and forward it to you. And we are very instrumental in making sure you know what action alerts are important to help you along. We also have the Early Childhood Consortium, which does the same thing. And as far as advocating for all childcare providers and educators out there to get the funding we need to offer early childhood quality care and education. So again, I can talk all day long, but I want to leave the bulk of this time for Becky and Gillian. So I'm going to mute and be quiet. But thank you again for joining us, Becky and Gillian. We appreciate your partnership.
So thank you so much, Cindy. I am going to bring up.
I might need to talk because other people look frozen.
Okay, so thank you so much, Cindy, for all of those wonderful words. I am Gillian Gansler, and I am going to turn this over to Becky. Becky, you're muted.
Now I'm okay.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you, Diane. Again, my name is Becky Fox, and I'm with Kaplan Early Learning Company, and along with Gillian Gansler, who you just recently met. And we're going to talk today how to navigate the maze of online learning, especially during these known as the pandemic. A little bit about us. As I mentioned, I'm with Kaplan, and we are the sole distributors of Quorum eLearning, and their product is Quorum. So we're excited to be partnering with them. We have been partnering with them for, goodness gracious, going on 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So we're excited to be here and excited to talk to you about online learning.
So I'm Gillian, and I'm with the Quorum eLearning program. And Quorum, you're going to hear a lot more about Quorum and actually get to see a little bit of it. Quorum is an online professional development program that is offered nationwide, and we are pleased to be partners with NCCA and NEPCA.
And now that we told you a little bit about us, we'd like to know a little bit about you. So if you could just add into the chat what best describes your role, and maybe something that you'd like to learn today about online learning. We'll give just a couple minutes if you all want to throw something into the chat. And we'll see if it can go through. And while Diane is doing that, Gillian, let's go on to the next slide and we'll come back. And as soon as I get it, I'll add it out to you.
Okay, So what we're going to do today, we are real pleased that you are with us and you've taken time out of your busy schedules. We're going to talk about the components of what is high quality online professional development. As Cindy was saying, there's a lot of stuff out there. We have all seen there's a lot of online learning out there, and it's not all the same. So there are some quality indicators that you should look for if you are either buying or taking or participating in online learning. So what are those components? And we want to explore them and learn more about them. And let's have a moment for you to think about how you would utilize online professional development to support your early childhood education. As Cindy was saying, credentials are required. Credentials are more and more being asked for. And so if you are able to provide them to your staff, how can you do that in an online fashion? And then we're going to do a test drive. Obviously without getting in a car, and show you a little bit about Quorum, because there is special pricing available through your NCCA membership. So I want to start with what is online learning. It's a term everybody throws out there, and especially in the pandemic, you know, everyone in education, early education and K-12 was told, go home and teach online, but nobody quite knew what that meant. So there's a lot of different definitions of online learning. These are terms you're going to hear thrown out there. So first is a webinar, what we're doing now. One-way communication. I'm talking to you. You can communicate back a little bit through chat, but and sometimes unmuting, but it's a one-way transfer of information. Then there's something called asynchronous courses, which is really what Quorum courses are. There's no facilitator. You do them on your own time, on your own schedule. We're going to talk about this later, but the higher quality ones are going to let you come and go because we all have different schedules. Synchronous or more, we have courses like that. Kaplan offers courses like that also. Those are more where Tuesday night at 4 o'clock, we're going to meet with a facilitator and we're all going to do the course together. And then there's other things. If anybody has any questions about other terms that you've heard and you want to put them in the chat box, or other experiences that you've had, college courses tend to be synchronous. Our courses tend to be asynchronous. So if you were told you had to use online learning in your early education program, how would you feel, especially during the pandemic? We were all told we had to use online education. We weren't given a choice in a lot of cases, particularly K-12 was not given a choice. So were you excited, scared, anxious, overwhelmed? Here's my little guy with his nervous system out there. So how would you feel? How did you feel if you were told when you were told you had to use it? So put in the chat box, how did you feel?
I see anxious, excited. I would have to say I fall into that group.
Mm-hmm. There were a lot of us that were overwhelmed also. A lot of educators that we talked to that were overwhelmed. Like, I have never taught online, and I felt really bad for some of the teachers that were told, okay, you're going online tomorrow, and they were not given any tools. So that's the overwhelmed part. So I want to ask you to date, what have your online experiences been? So let's start with the positives. Who has used online? Maybe you've taken a college course, maybe one of your teachers has taken a college course. What have been some of the positive experiences that you've had with online learning?
Feel more connected is one of the responses that I just got, Gillian.
Yep, especially now. We don't really have a choice in some cases. Obviously, a lot of centers are open, but a lot of us haven't had a choice to connect with our peers except through a platform like this. Zoom, Google Meets, Facebook Live, we've all been using all of them.
And very easy to use, and they like the flexible schedule of online learning.
Yep.
Which is a great point.
Flexibility is definitely one of the benefits, particularly when you can't go out. So there've also obviously some challenges. What are some of the challenges? This lady in my picture looks very happy, which is why I chose this picture, but what are some of the challenges that you've had with online learning?
Maybe the topic that you're looking for is not provided in online learning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Anything else?
Looks like so far people are happy with being able
Okay.
to do online learning. So that's very positive.
That's awesome. That's great. So there has been a lot of research out there done, and I'm sure after this pandemic or throughout the pandemic, there's going to be a whole lot more. There's been a lot of research done both by universities looking at online learning and by surveys. So the top 3 tangible values that people have generally found have been cost, convenience, and consistency. So cost meaning online learning tends to be cheaper. Particularly when you're talking online professional development for educators. Even if we could right now, I'm thinking that nobody's going to put 300 teachers in a room, forget about the COVID implications, but because of the cost, because you have to pay for travel costs and meals and substitutes and everything. So that's one obvious benefit of online learning. So convenience, as somebody was just saying, you can pop in and out on your schedule. You don't have to decide that, okay, next Saturday I'm giving up the whole day to go to this in-person training. It's a lot more convenient to be able to tap into your computer. And from the standpoint of any of you who are administrators, consistency. So consistency is very key. So when you get online learning, I'm going to hear the same thing that Becky's going to hear, that Cindy's going to hear. Now, we might all hear it differently. We might take different things away from it, but you can feel better that if you're using online learning as a center administrator, for instance, for all of your teachers, they're all going to get the same information at the same time, regardless of who the trainer is. You're not going to have one trainer doing one thing and another doing another. You're going to have the consistency across the content that you've chosen. So I want to show you this cute little video, which hopefully will work, and about what do you look for in online learning. I'm going to make sure my sound is on. Yes, it is. What to look for in online learning, because one of the things like in-person learning, not all online learning is the same. There is good, there is bad, there is interactive, there is not interactive. So I want to show you this fun little video that one of our staff put together a number of years ago about what to look for.
So, you're thinking about online professional development for your staff. What do you think it looks like? What should it look like? You already know it can save you money. That's a bonus right there. But what do you look for in quality training? There are 2 types of online training. The first we will call DBPP, Death by PowerPoint. This is generic topic, power button, take a short quiz, then presto, you get a certificate. This type of training does not work. Our brains reject PowerPoint style training. Only 10% of the information is retained 3 days later. Research has shown that ideas are better remembered if they are presented as visuals instead of words. When you use visuals, the student remembers 65% of the information 3 days later. Put them in front of online training that is made up of bullet points. There is a better way. Quality online training presents ideas as learning objects and visuals instead of all text. Knowing this, there are 4 ways to make e-learning more effective. Number 1, engage the learner with interactive, fun ways of learning. Playing leads to better absorption, better learning. Number 2, a whole new level. Emotion leads to investment. Number 3, create a community. Learning alone is just boring. Number 4, flexibility. Allow administration to set up the staff's training plan and individualize to meet each staff member's needs. Ms. Tamara may be faced with some challenging behaviors in her classroom. There is an online course for that. So, these are the 4 things you should look for in effective online professional development. It should be engaging, have an emotional hook, create a community, and be flexible. Give your teachers this type of online learning and they will jump for joy, and they won't scare the children.
So obviously, one of the things you hopefully saw about that is we like to have fun. We believe that humor helps for us to learn different topics. So I want to just go into a little bit. What features should you look for in quality online learning? That video talked about a couple of them, but I want to dig a little deeper and say, so if I am either a consumer of online learning in some sense, I'm a director of a program, director of an agency, or I'm an individual teacher and I'm wanting to take online courses, what are the components that I should look for to make sure that I'm spending my money and my time well? So the features of high quality e-learning. So the first one is engagement. Is it interactive? Is it holding your attention? And Cindy spoke about that a little bit. So what you see on the screen is something from a Quorum course where you're doing drag and click and you're matching the words to the sentence. So there should be some way that it engages you. You shouldn't just be sitting there clicking the next button on your computer screen to get to the next place. It should engage you so that you are learning the content, and it should hold your attention. It's not designed, training should not be boring. I know oftentimes that you have to take a course in something that might not be your first choice, but it should hold your attention. So the next thing to look for is the content. Where the content come from. Is it something that someone just developed because they want to sell you something, or because they want you to use their product, or did it come from research? And so particularly if you are a center administrator, you want to make sure that the information that you're giving to your teachers is research-based. So we always put, I circled it as in a Quorum course, we always put where the information came from, who's the expert, so that if the teacher wants to, they can go there. If you want to double check, you can do that. So the technology, nobody put this in the chat when I asked about the challenges. That's usually the first thing people say. The technology needs to be user-friendly. So one of the challenges of high quality e-learning is that the technology should be user-friendly. The person in our company, our chief operating officer who develops our online learning, she is always saying that she wants the technology to be the paint on the wall. It's not intrusive. You shouldn't be challenged by it. There should be some way that you can navigate it. It also should be available 24/7. It should be reliable. When the pandemic first hit in February.
And Gillian, just
Yeah.
to interrupt you, talking about technology issues, your screen just went black.
What?
I thought that was a perfect example of technology.
Oh my
So
goodness.
now if you could just fix that, that would be perfect.
I don't know what's going on.
I can see it on my end.
You can?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm getting the what they call the spinning ball of death. I'm getting my, okay, is it back?
Try to change a slide.
Wow.
Okay, so go ahead, keep going. I guess Storm can see it. I am not seeing it.
It's saying that Zoom that Zoom just went down. I'm getting a message that Zoom is down.
Mariah can see it too.
Yeah, I can see it perfectly. So I don't know. That's
Okay, so let's just keep going and hopefully
Okay.
it'll come back to me.
Well, I apologize because that's it. I'm getting a message that it's a Zoom problem. That Zoom is doing something weird.
But everyone can see it. Maybe it's just me being in the Verizon. Storm has caused me
yes.
Verizon issues.
Storm told us earlier when she first got on that she heard that Verizon is having challenges today and that their system went down. So anyhow, so this is a perfect segue. So technology needs to be available. And so I was starting to tell a story about our platform in the beginning of the pandemic, that it was staying up and others were going down. And so maybe this is an example of Zoom going down. So the other thing that is important in high quality e-learning is that it needs to be password protected. You don't want the whole world going in and watching what you are doing. The next thing is credit. So make sure before you take a course or buy a course or have someone else take a course that they're going to earn whatever credit it is that you want them to get, that there are certificates issued, that if state training hours are important to you. Okay, Zoom just came back, so I'm going to reshare.
Perfect.
Oh, now it's not coming back. Oh my God. I have never had Zoom go down on me. It's not letting me back in.
Just keep reading off of those and we'll just, let me see if I can pull
Okay.
it up.
Yeah, you do have it.
Yeah, why don't you give it a shot, Becky, and see if it'll work for you.
I am really sorry, guys. I've never seen this before. Of course, when you're doing a workshop on online learning, the platform goes down. Can you share the screen?
Gillian, keep talking and I'm working on it.
Okay. So it's really important that if you need state training hours, that the provider, that the online learning that you are looking at is offering state training hours. Also, as Cindy was saying in the beginning, credentials. If you need credentials, make sure that the online training that you're using leads to the credential that you need. We get calls often on our help desk that someone took a course from someone and they thought that they were going to be able to use the coursework towards their credential and they couldn't. And they didn't find it out till after the fact. Find it out before the fact, before you write somebody a check. Accountability is the next point, in that is to make sure that there are certificates and knowledge assessments, that somebody is checking that you aren't just clicking through. I'm not going to name names, but when we first got into the world of online learning, I was able to take a 2-hour course in 20 minutes because all I had to do was click through to the next page and I didn't have to take a test or anything at the end. So make sure that there are assessments that people have to take as they go through. I am seeing if Zoom's coming back, but it's still not coming back. I'm really sorry, guys. So the next point is, the next thing to look for is tracking. So can administrators track what their teachers are doing? And is there a system, if you lost your certificate, is there somebody there that can help you find it? And do your certificates stay on the platform or not? Do they stay in the system or not?
Can you all see my screen now?
No. Go to...
Okay. Now.
Wow. I've heard about Zoom going down, never experienced it. Okay, so back to tracking. Can the administrators track? Can you get your certificate if you lose it? What happens after the training? Implementation is the next key thing you need to look for. What happens after the training? Do you just get your certificate and move on? So one of the things that we find really important, and it was in that video, is community. So is there a way for the community to continue conversations afterwards? Is there any effort at all in the e-learning to build community? That is one of the key pieces about implementation after the fact. And the last thing is, actually it's not the last thing, it's the last thing on the slide, customer support. Is there anybody that you can call if something isn't working? If the system goes down like this, is there somebody that you can call if you get locked out, if your password doesn't work? And is there something else that you can do? So customer support. We get also calls a lot that people say, you know, I was using this e-learning and there was nobody I could call when I got my password. I got locked out and I couldn't figure out how to reset my password. So the last two things to look for when you are either purchasing or taking online learning, obviously this is the one that people look at first, but I put it last, is the cost. What is the cost? Does the membership fee include what you want? Are there group rates? All of those key points about the cost. And then obviously the most important, the value. Is the training worth the time? Is there value? Can I access courses in another language if I need them? Does my credential include anything else? So what am I getting for my money? Becky, I'm going to close Zoom and get out.
Yeah, because I'm on and I can't seem to get it to share. So you cannot see my screen, is that?
We can see, yeah, we can see your screen. It's just not full screen. So are you able to make it full screen? I can see it. Storm's saying she can see it.
Okay, is
Mariah's.
that better?
Yes. Perfect.
All righty. Did we lose Gillian?
I still see her on there, but oh, I think she was getting off and then jumping back on.
I am back.
There you are.
It finally kicked me out. Zoom wasn't working and then it kicked me out. So I am totally apologizing, guys. So Becky, are you driving this now?
I have it up.
Okay, go to the next one.
It does not want to move to the next screen.
Okay, you know what? Let me do it.
Okay. Oh, now I got it. Okay. Here we go. Can you see it?
Yep. So we wanted to talk a little bit. We're moving into the point about our test drive. So we want to show you a little bit and share a little bit about Quorum. So the first part of this webinar was all about exploring what are the components of online learning that make it high quality, whether it's ours or anybody else's. And there is a lot of online learning out there. And so what we wanted to just share those components with you so that you make sure that you are getting what you are paying for, what you think you're paying for, what you want. So I want to move into telling you about Quorum, because Quorum is a membership benefit through NCCA. You all get special pricing. And Quorum, as I said, is an online professional development program. It provides 24/7 access to over almost 190 hours at this point of training in English and 120 in Spanish. All the courses in Quorum offer CEUs, and we have a 7-day-a-week bilingual help desk. So Quorum incorporates all of those quality indicators that we just shared with you. There are others that incorporate many of them, or some of them. We incorporate all of them. So this is what you get when you log into Quorum. Quorum includes, oh, thank you, Cindy, that our help desk is very helpful. We try, we're 7 days a week. So this is what you see when you log into your Quorum account. This is my Quorum account. Quorum includes the course catalog, which is all of your courses. We also include forums. Forums are discussions that continue 24/7 outside a course. They will start within a course where we'll ask someone, so what did you find the most helpful about these videos? Or what would you do in this situation? And you can respond during the course, and then 24/7 you can keep responding outside the course. Your certificates are always available to you in your portal, and we have a lot of information in the Quorum program.
And Gillian, if you want to just talk about those 4 modules that are showing right there, that would be great in case we can't get into the system.
Yes. So we do have short micro learnings that are not for credit, which is what having the baby during the COVID pandemic was one. And the growing language for infants and toddlers is another one that we have, which is one of our early literacy ones. When you log into the course catalog, you can pull up all your courses in your chosen language. And you can also go, you see at the top that there's a search bar. So you can put in, I want to find something on literacy or challenging behavior or some other topic. We have in Quorum, we have hundreds of hours of training on pretty much everything that you want as an early childhood educator. Courses on developmental milestones, social emotional development, early literacy, working with children with special needs, working with families. What else? We have all of the health and safety courses that are required under the Child Care Development Fund that Cindy mentioned earlier, that there's expanded funding. They are going to still make those requirements be part of their funding, which is great because they're really important topics. They're basic health and safety topics and child abuse topics. And we have all of those in Quorum. And then we also have all of the coursework that you need for your CDA and for other credentials. So as I said in the beginning, it is a member benefit through NCCA. You get a discounted rate to join Quorum.
And the rate to join Quorum through NCCA is $79.95, and that's for the entire year for all 190 hours.
Okay.
We're going to give it a test drive, Jillian.
We're going to give it a test drive. So I am logging in.
And I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Yep. And can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to take just a couple minutes and show you what a typical Quorum course looks like. So this is one of the courses. It's on classroom safety. It's called Keeping Our Children Safe. It's one of the courses that meets the Child Care Development Fund annual required training. So know many of you are familiar with those 11 topics that everyone has to take every year if you're getting any kind of federal support in your program. This is one of them. It's a typical, it also is one of them that meets NEPCA's requirements, CDA requirements, everyone's requirements for classroom safety. So it's a typical Quorum course. All of our courses are structured like this. They are in chapters. You can go as fast or slow through the chapters. As I go through the chapters, the bar on the right starts out white and it turns orange as I complete the chapter. At the end of every chapter, there is a chapter quiz. Many times it's a real quiz, many times it's in the form of a crossword puzzle or a matching game. And I have to pass the quiz to go to the next chapter, but I can take those quizzes as many times as I want. At the end of the course, every course has a formal knowledge assessment at the end, a test that you have to pass to earn your certificate. There is also in that final chapter, whatever the chapter is, sometimes it's chapter 7, chapter 10, whatever. There is also a short writing assignment that we ask you to do, where we are asking you to stop and think. You just took this 4-hour course on classroom safety. What are you going to do with this information? Because to us at Quorum, the most important part of the course is actually that action plan. That's where we ask you, how are you using this coursework to improve the lives of the children and the families you work with? That to us is the most important. We love it that you pass the test, but we want to know, what are you doing with the information? And we do review those action plans to make sure that you wrote a real action plan. We don't grade them, we don't judge them, we do review them to make sure you did one. But I can't get to that last chapter until I do the rest of the work. One of the things that makes Quorum different than many other online coursework out there, I can't flip and take my course in 20 minutes.
Welcome to the online course, Keeping Our Children Safe.
So our courses are audioed. If you took it in English, they're audioed in English. If you're taking it in Spanish, they're audioed in Spanish. Let me make this a little bigger to see if it's easier to see. You can mute the audio if you find it annoying. We get a lot of feedback that people like the audio.
Teachers of young children spend.
We always tell you at the beginning of a course what you're going to learn.
The content.
We also always tell you where the information came from. It is all research-based information.
Now that you've been officially.
We have progress checks along the way. Our motivation is not to trick the teachers. Our motivation is to have the teachers get to the end of the course and be successful, earn their certificate, use the information to improve the lives of the children and their families.
Why do childcare teachers create?
We have a graphic team that makes the courses graphically appealing. There are videos that you can watch. The information is broken up into bite-sized pieces. This is how we deal with licensing requirements, where you're following the pink stars to find out what does states, and this is general states, say about heating and cooling and light and how you're keeping your classroom safe. At key places, we build in reflective practice. This is where we want to know what you think. We're not reading this. This is private for you, but you can submit it if you want. But we are asking you to stop and think about what you just learned. This is where we are subtly saying this was important. What do you think about it? How are you going to use it?
A childcare facility with the need for.
I can go as fast or as slow as I want. This is an example of a chapter quiz in the form of a game where I'm earning points to review the information. And we also always have written printed resources in our courses. There are a lot of people out there like me that still learn new information best with a piece of paper and yellow highlighter in their hand. So we are accommodating those kinds of learners also.
To ensure the best.
and again, a progress check. We're going to play one quick game.
Is poisoning really a big problem in the United States?
So this is where I'm going to click. There are 6 dangerous items in this picture that do not belong in an early childhood classroom. So somebody put one in the chat box that you think shouldn't be in an early childhood classroom because they're potentially toxic. Anybody see one?
Yes, the Lysol. I also have the nail polish.
Ooh, nail polish. That one's hard to find.
The soap and the soap on the back. Yep, that soap. The bleach bucket.
Absolutely. There's 2 more.
Bottle of pills.
Uh-huh. Good.
And the last one. The bottle.
There's one.
Oh, that
Laundry
pink bottle.
detergent.
Oh, that's it.
Okay, so now my classroom is nice and clean. I'm playing like a Where's Waldo kind of game. And then on the next page, there's a book that I can listen to or read about why and how. How do I keep those things out of the reach of the children? How do I keep washing hands for food? This is another one about plants, where I'm supposed to find the plants that are safe to be in an early childhood classroom. Now, if any of you are gardeners, you might get this one. I'll give you a hint. I always thought daffodils were okay. I was wrong.
Nope.
Spikes are okay. Anybody see one that they think is okay?
The peace lily, Gillian?
As you see, when I get it wrong, my poison jar fills up and I get that scary noise.
Dandelion?
Very good.
So I'm going to click through the safe
That's
one
good.
so you can see what happens.
Very good.
My baby is happy. If I got all the poisonous ones, I'd have a baby that was crying that popped up on the screen.
If you are not sure what type,
So now I have the opportunity to review and see which are
as a
poisonous
teacher
and not
caring for young
poisonous.
children,
Now I have the opportunity, I want to assess my classroom. There's a yes, no on this sheet. So I can download and print it off and assess my classroom and then reflect on my classroom. Was it safe? If I could make one improvement, what would it be? We am introduced to the concept of poison control. They are the experts. When do you call them?
are you aware of the
When do I go into carbon monoxide poisoning? And then another chapter quiz. This one's in the form of a crossword puzzle. So that is a real quick drive-by sharing of one Quorum course. And now I want to go back to the PowerPoint, see if it'll work this time. I'm going to go back to where we were. Sorry, I had to go back to the beginning because of my Zoom freezing. So, who has questions? There is a handout that I'm going to have Becky or Storm or someone put in the chat box, which is a one page on reviewing some of the information. What do you remember? What are some of the checkpoints that you're going to look at when you're looking to buy online learning or take online learning? And then also Becky has a flyer with the NCCA information for on Quorum. So what questions do y'all have?
Gillian, I do not have any questions right now. Our information is up on there, so if you do have questions at a different time or you know where to reach us, through Cindy or Storm or Diane, you can reach us through any of those folks, but we're here to answer those questions. And if you have a colleague that is part of NCCA and would like to see a webinar on your own or with them, we could always do it that way too. So we're here to help as a great member benefit, and we just appreciate the opportunity to jump on today. And Diane has put the e-learning handout in the chat as well, so you can download it from there. Gillian?
Anybody? Are there questions? So, and
I do want
apologize. I learned a lesson about Zoom today. Never seen that happen before.
Well, I do want to thank you, Becky and Gillian. I thought the session was interesting and somewhat entertaining, which I think, as you pointed out, it holds our attention, even with some of the technical issues. You still, persisted and got the information to us. And again, just as someone who has personally used this, my screen went black. Oh, my screen went black. Who has personally used this, and I'm working with people that do. You do not have to have, you do not have to be a highly technical person because it's such an easy site to use. And again, their help desk is very, very helpful. And I am always available to answer questions about any of our business affiliates. And if I don't know the answer, I will find it out for you. So you can contact us through our website, nationalchildcare.org. Our phone number, our email address, everything is there for you to let us know how we can help you. And please keep learning. Keep learning. Yeah, you are never too old to learn and to get better at what we do. And sometimes just being reminded, of how to do it better. So thank you again. And this is going to give you back 11 minutes of your day, which I know that you will be glad to have. And if there's any questions for me at this time, feel free to ask me. Otherwise, take back 11 minutes of your day because I know that you need it.
Thank you all. Thank you very, very much for being with us and hanging in there.
We can wrap this up. And I look forward to visiting with anyone out there that would like to visit with me. And you can also let me know how you would like for that $40 million to be spent, and we will share it with the powers that be. And I would also encourage you to stay in touch with your local lead agencies and governor's offices, because they are writing their plans right now for how to spend the 10 million that is already on the table and ready to be released in a few weeks. And be thinking about the 40 million. And I'm dreaming of higher wages for our credentialed and degreed staff. I'm just going to throw that out there. That's one of my dreams. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Stay healthy and safe.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Are you hot, Cindy?
Yes, I'm hot. I thought I left. I thought I was off.
It's okay. That mask is hot. I know.
I did you for a minute. I'm going to take a quick drink of my Coke. Goodbye, y'all.
Bye.
You guys did great. Really entertaining.
Thank you.
Thanks, Diane.
Thank you.
I've never seen Zoom do that, so thank you for your help.
No, thank you guys. It was actually a great presentation, very entertaining. I think everyone understands that you were on it. So we'll get it up and we'll get it out there. And your email address was on in the database. So I will look into that.
Perfect.
So thank you.
Okay. Perfect. And if you want me to PDF the slides and send them to you,
yeah, would you?
It.
Absolutely.
Okay. I could do that.
That way we can get that on the website as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.
Bye.